Hello. Let's talk a little bit about ways to power the Microbit. Now the Microbit actually runs on 3 volts. It says that right on here, 3 volts ground. However, sometimes we'll put more than 3 volts into it. But the simplest way to power this thing is to use one of these little kits. Now, oftentimes when you buy a Microbit, it'll come, or you can ask for it to come with one of these little kits that holds 2 AAA batteries and has a connector on the end of it that matches perfectly with the Microbit. Now, this one I got came with the 2 batteries. So let's power it up and see if it works. Let's see if we can open this thing first of all. AAA batteries, easy to insert, easy to find anywhere. Just pop them in there. 2 of them together equals about 3 volts. Let's measure that. The light on so you can see it a little better. Let's see, this is the negative end over here. I hope I can squeeze these in here. There you go, 3.2 volts. We call that 3. Put that off for now. So now we have a 3 volt battery source, all enclosed. The only downside to this little contraption is that there is no on and off switch. So the only way to turn it on and off is to plug it in or unplug it. Let's plug it in. I was hoping that would actually work. There it goes. Got a little program on here that just generates or turns on and off these LEDs by pressing the B button. But there's the simplest way to power one of these. And it's very portable. You'll see me use this a lot when we try the different experiments.
Can you use rechargeable AAAs?
I think you might be able to, although I haven't tried that. Probably just as easy to get new ones. Put this aside for now. Now, another common way to power this is using the USB port right here. And this one came with, in the kit, a little cable. And when I say little, I mean little. This plugs in to the Microbit. With any luck, get it in the right way. And then this plugs into any USB port that's powered. Typically that's a computer, but doesn't have to be. Can be one of those charging units. I have one on a little lamp, as a matter of fact. They seem to be popping up everywhere. What we're going to try are some of these power packs. Now this power pack has 2 USB ports on it. You charge the power pack, and it's usually used to power or recharge phones. But let's try it here. So we just plug it into one of the ports. There's 2 of them. On comes the Microbit, and let's try the program. The downside of these is it goes off after a while, because these are designed to sense whether or not the phone is being or has been completely charged, and then they shut off. The only way to get this to work is to turn it on again. Now that can be a bit of a pain in the neck. So these seemed like a great solution to me initially, but they keep going off. Turning it back on and off. Exactly how many volts come out of one of these things? Well, let's measure that. Hook the meter up. Not everybody has one of these contraptions, but here we have a device that allows us to bring out the power connectors of the USB cable, connect it through wires into the meter, and we'll plug it in. Says nothing, so we got to turn it on. Can you see the meter okay? Get that light on again. 5 volts. Now it stays at 5 volts for a while, but then it'll go off. It'll slowly drop down because it feels that there's no phone being charged. So it stops sending out power. Probably take forever now that we're watching it. In the meantime, we're going to figure out a way to get this to work with that. Oh, there it goes. We can see the voltage is starting to drop down. That means if I plugged in the Microbit, it's not going to work for very long. It's gone already. Oh, maybe not. Maybe by having 2 things in here, it senses the need for sending out power. See how long that lasts. Typically, I've seen these go off in maybe 10 seconds, maybe 30 seconds in this instance. I think that there it goes. Now I did find something. I'm going to disconnect the meter now. Get that out of the way for the time being. I did find this little device. This is a USB LED light. If I plug that in, it uses enough power. I think I'll swap these around. It uses enough power that it tricks the power bank into staying on for a little longer. Now, if you could set this up in such a way it becomes a workstation, that might be useful. This stays on satisfactorily for quite a long time. Probably when this battery runs down, it'll go, but that'll be a long time away. So this is a fairly useful idea if we can find a way to keep enough power. However, I wouldn't recommend buying one of these just for this purpose. The little AAA batteries are almost as useful. Now there is another option, and I found this power bank that has a switch on it. This does not suffer the same problem, but you can't be sure if you got one of those. If I take this off, this is still going, by the way, and probably will for a while because the light's on, and plug that in here. Of course it goes this way. See if we can see any of that. This has a switch. And when that switch is on, this is on. Power's on, and the Microbit's on. Now this one stays on for as long as the switch is pressed. This one I do recommend. If you can find one of these that has a switch, it can also be recharged, and it'll power your Microbit with hardly any clutter. That's a nice little package. Lasts for quite a long time, probably longer than the AAAs. And it's rechargeable. It's rechargeable just by swapping this cable around and plugging the small end in there and the other end into a charger of some sort. Hey, notice this is still cooking with the light on. So both of those, I suppose, are useful. I'll probably use this one because it's the smallest. I can sit on the couch and program without having to grab all kinds of wires. Although this is a good option too, and we'll probably use this one every now and then. So those are what I consider 2 fairly useful portable power sources for the Microbit. Then of course you can always just plug the thing into a computer or an AC source of some kind that generates the 5 volts, the USB 5 volts. Now, with this done, let's talk about something even more interesting. When it comes time to use your Microbit with an expander card, you might like to have a little bit more power. In this instance, I recommend something like this. This is a pair of lithium-ion batteries. They're called 18650s. Each one of them generates 3.7 volts. Put them in there, they're rechargeable. You have to take them out to recharge them. Couple of advantages to this system. Number one, it has an on-off switch, but you do have to add a connector to the end, in this case a barrel connector, which will plug into an expansion board, which will in turn power the Microbit in many accessories. And we'll look at those later. This one, for example, is powering an OLED. This is 2 times 3.7 volts, somewhere between 7 and 8 volts when it's fully charged. This device, this expansion board, says it will take between 6 and 12 volts. Let's see if it'll take even less. I'm going to unplug the barrel connector. I'll grab this Microbit. Ugh. This is the old 5-volt one. Remember the power bank? Let's see if that will power this thing. Was still on. Yes, it did. Well, that's interesting because this only puts out 5 volts. Turn it off, everything goes off. I don't know how long that would last. It's an option, however. The other power bank is still running with the LED light, so that was a solution to that, but you have to buy the power bank, then you have to get one of these LED lights. I don't know if that's worth it. This is a good choice. That's an interesting choice. And of course, the little battery is another choice. So how do these stack up? Well, if you're just going to power one Microbit, probably the little battery is a good idea. If you can come across one of these power banks with a switch, that's also a good option because both of them plug into that. If you happen to have one of these phone chargers and can find a way for it to drain itself a little bit like this LED light, another good choice. And then finally, when we get to the point where we want to add all kinds of accessories, we may want to get the 18650s. Well, that's pretty much the picture for power at this time. Wasn't that fun? Bye.